Hello, students, and a very warm welcome to you all. Today, we're going to begin a very important chapter, life processes, and we'll start with the most basic need for any living thing, and that is nutrition. Let's try to understand what it is and why it's so very important for life itself.
So let's take a quick look at what we will be covering today. First, we'll ask a very simple question. Can there be life without food? Then we'll define what nutrition actually is. After that, we'll learn about the two main types of nutrition, autotrophic and heterotrophic. And finally, we will see how everything is beautifully connected.
All right, let's start with a small thought experiment. I want you all to think about the one thing that every living organism absolutely needs to stay alive. Just imagine this for a moment. What would happen to a plant if you kept it in a dark room for many, many days? Or think about an animal in a forest that is unable to find anything to eat. What do you think will happen to them?
Well, the answer is quite straightforward, isn't it? Without any food, the supply of energy just stops. The body can no longer grow or repair its damages. All the important maintenance work that goes on inside our bodies, it all comes to a halt, and eventually, life just cannot go on.
So, this brings us to our main topic for today. If food is so important, what is the name for the process of taking in food and using it? Well, that entire process is called nutrition. You see, nutrition is not just about eating. It's the whole process. It starts with taking in food and then using that food for three very important things: to get energy, for growth and repair of the body, and for the general maintenance of the body.
Now, food has two main jobs inside our body. Think of it like this. On one hand, it's an energy source, like petrol for a car. It gives us the power to move, to breathe, and to do all our daily activities. On the other hand, it also provides the raw materials, like bricks to build a house. These materials are used to make new cells and to repair old or damaged parts of our body.
And what are these raw materials made of? Well, most of the food that we eat, and in fact most living things, are made of molecules based on carbon. You've heard of them: carbohydrates, proteins, fats. They are all carbon-based. Now this leads to a very interesting question. How do different living organisms get these carbon-based foods?
So let's look at the different ways organisms get their food. There are two main strategies. We will start with the first one, which is called autotrophic nutrition.
Let's break down this word. Auto means self, and troph means nutrition. So autotrophs are basically self-feeders. These are the organisms that can make their own food. They don't need to eat anything else. They just use simple things from their environment, like carbon dioxide and water, to prepare their own food. And the best examples of autotrophs are all around us. All the green plants you see, from the smallest grass to the biggest trees, they are all autotrophs. They make their own food using a process called photosynthesis, which we will study later. Other examples include algae and even some types of bacteria. Okay, so that was our first type. Now for the second mode of nutrition. If autotrophs are the ones who make the food, then what about those who eat the food? Well, they are called heterotrophs. Again, let's look at the word. Hetero means other. So heterotrophs are organisms that depend on others for their nutrition. They cannot make their own food, so they have to get it by eating other organisms, like plants or animals. This group includes almost all the animals that you can think of, from a small ant to a large whale. It also includes fungi, like the mushrooms you might see growing. And of course, we humans are also heterotrophs. We depend on plants and other animals for our food every single day. This table gives us a very nice summary of the differences. Let's look at it closely. Autotrophs make their food from simple inorganic materials, while heterotrophs get it from other organisms. A very important point is that autotrophs have chlorophyll, that green pigment, but heterotrophs don't. And because of this, autotrophs need sunlight to make food, while heterotrophs do not.
So we have these two major groups: the food makers, who are the autotrophs, and the food takers, who are the heterotrophs. So the big question now is, how are these two groups connected?
This is a very, very important point. Just think about it. A goat eats grass, so it depends directly on a plant, which is an autotroph. Now, what if a lion eats the goat? The lion is not eating the grass, but the energy it gets from the goat originally came from the grass. So the lion depends on the grass indirectly. This means all heterotrophs, in one way or another, depend on autotrophs for their survival. So, you see, nutrition is the starting point for all life processes. It begins with getting food. Then that food is either made, like in photosynthesis, or it is broken down into simpler forms through digestion. After that, another process called respiration releases the energy that is stored inside the food. And it is this energy that is used to carry out all the other functions of life.
And this leaves us with some very interesting questions, doesn't it? We now know what nutrition is and why it's so important, but how does it happen? How do plants actually make their own food? And how do our bodies digest the food that we eat? Well, these are the questions we will explore in our next lessons. Thank you.